Welcome, and thank you for viewing this webinar on the importance of media kits for nonprofit organizations. By the conclusion of this webinar, viewers will be able to explain the contents and importance of having an up-to-date media kit, as well as create the individual pieces necessary for an effective media kit. According to the National Center for Charitable Statistics, there are more than 1.4 million nonprofit organizations in the United States. While some nonprofits are highly specialized and unique, others may be competing against hundreds of similar organizations to raise money for the same cause. In either case, it is important for your nonprofit to maintain and make available a media kit. A media kit is a public relations tool that is used to tell the story of your organization through facts, statistics, testimonials, news articles, and biographies. A media kit, sometimes referred to as a press kit, may be hard or soft copy. Many nonprofit organizations fail to have a media kit due to the lack of staff, lack of awareness as to the importance of one, or even the belief that one is not needed. Let's further explore why a media kit is important. For example, think about a food bank. Why would a food bank need to provide the media reasons why people need food? For one, the media may be unaware of how many people go without food each day, or how much food is needed to feed 500 people for a month. Another reason may be to shed light on what it costs to feed those 500 people. It is important to keep in mind that the media kit tells the story of the organization. Your food bank may do something that is different or unique than other food banks. This would be a significant point to convey to your audience, and a media kit is one useful way to share that fact. Additionally, media kits are an essential tool for sharing key points about your organization with the media. While you may be able to predict what events a reporter may be likely to attend, you will never know when a reporter will call wanting to run a story on your organization and asking for specific information on a moment's notice. A lack of a media kit may cost not only the story, but keep thousands of readers and potential donors from learning about your organization. Reporters no longer cover beats like the local nonprofit community as they did in the past. Therefore, it is more important than ever for nonprofits to be prepared to do the reporter's homework and ensure the key messages and correct facts are researched and made readily available. As mentioned earlier, by the conclusion of this webinar, viewers will be able to explain the contents and importance of having an up-to-date media kit, as well as how to create the individual pieces necessary for an effective media kit. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a classically trained musician who has performed with different organizations around the world. I have also been a member of the United States Air Force Band. Musicians are quite familiar with nonprofit organizations as well as self-promotion. Before I was ever instructed on what a media kit was, I had created and assembled media kits to promote ensembles that I either started or performed with. While I was performing with the United States Air Force Band, I also worked in the Public Affairs Office. It was in this role that I was taught about media kits and their importance. Nothing was worse than getting a call and being ordered to create a fact sheet from one of our ensembles on an hour's notice. Currently, I'm pursuing a master's degree from Georgetown University with a focus on public relations and corporate communications. I'm also currently employed by a nonprofit organization, the Air Force Association, where today I am serving as a program manager. While my experiences are diverse and unique, each organization I worked with heavily relied on media kits. This is why I would like to share my knowledge with you today. Let's begin with our first main topic, learning about the contents and importance of having an up-to-date media kit for your organization. Let's begin with our first main topic, learning about the contents and importance of an up-to-date media kit. There are no required documents for a media kit, but as with everything, certain elements have come to be expected. While we won't have time to discuss them all in detail, I would like to give you an idea of what some organizations include. Typically, the most commonly included documents in nonprofit media kits are fact sheets, a frequently asked questions page, also referred to as FAQs, biographies of both the organization and senior leaders, backgrounders, key organizational messages, testimonials, recent news article and press releases, contact information. And also, it's important to note that on all of these documents, or whichever ones you choose to include, you should have the date last updated printed on all documents. As I mentioned for today's session, we will focus our attention on the fact sheets, a frequently asked questions page, and biographies. These are all relatively easy to compile on any budget and will provide your key publics with the most important information about your organization. Before we do this, let's briefly discuss the importance of having and maintaining an up-to-date media kit for your organization. As I stated in the introduction, media kits can be useful for a variety of purposes. First, having documents available that describe who your organization is and what it does helps simplify an article or interview process when working with the media. Documents included in your media kit should provide the reader with accurate facts and statistics, eliminating the need for research. Not only does a media kit aid the media, it also can increase support and donations for your organization. A media kit provides an easy and flexible way to educate a variety of audience, especially if the documents in your media kit are also made available on your organization's website. Furthermore, prepackaged folders of hard copy versions of your media kit should be brought to public events, activities, and fundraisers. Now that you have a better understanding of what's included in a media kit and why they are important, let's discuss what I believe to be the most important document to include in your media kit: fact sheets. Fact sheets concisely describe what your organization's mission and key publics are. Some nonprofits have one fact sheet summarizing their organization as a whole, while others, usually larger nonprofits, have a main fact sheet and shorter program-specific fact sheets. On any fact sheet, key elements to include are the who, what, where, why, when, and how about your nonprofit. Be sure to use accurate and up-to-date statistics and tell the organization's story through the facts. Furthermore, it is important to remember that your organization needs to update its fact sheets on a regular basis, especially if a change has occurred. To give you a better idea of what we've just talked about, let's briefly pause and look at a portion of a program-specific fact sheet for the American Kennel Club. As you can see, the key facts and messages are bulleted, making it fast and easy to learn about the American Kennel Club's Reunite program. In addition to fact sheets, another important piece for your nonprofit's media kit is a frequently asked questions page, sometimes referred to as an FAQ. FAQs are particularly useful for new customers, event participants, and volunteers. Additionally, FAQs help to eliminate basic questions that a reporter may ask during an interview, leaving more time to focus on key organizational messages that you wish to convey. This type of document is also particularly beneficial for organizations with limited staffs, as FAQs can reduce time spent answering the same question over and over again. Furthermore, FAQs encourage participation from donors and volunteers, as it makes your organization easier to understand and seem more down to earth. FAQs should predict what a reporter, visitor, or potential customer may ask about your organization. A good way to build one is to compile a running list of the questions you or your staff are asked the most. Once you've created an FAQ, ask some friends and colleagues to see if they find it helpful or to determine if anything is missing. You'll never be able to answer everyone's question, but the basic ones should be covered here. Now let's look at a sample FAQ page from the N Street Village's website. As you can see, it lays out basic questions with relevant answers for the reader. Because this is displayed online on their website, you may also use a drop-down menu to search for specific topics. Now that you have a better understanding of FAQs, I'd like to discuss one final document that I feel should be included in your nonprofit's media kit: biographies. Biographies put a name and face with your nonprofit, humanizing it and making it more accessible to the people who read about it. It is important to have a biography about your organization and also its leaders. Limit both kinds of biographies to one page. Biographies on senior leaders should include a brief description of the person's experience, skills, education, duration with the organization, and accomplishments. You should also include a headshot. Furthermore, be sure to update the biography and/or headshot as information or appearances change. A quick note on headshots. Only use headshots that are taken by a professional photographer. While this sounds expensive, certain shops and stores will take a headshot for approximately $25. Ensure the background is plain and simple. Additionally, to meet the needs of reporters, it is a good idea to have on hand a color photo and a black and white version in different sizes and resolutions when possible. Finally, have both print and digital copies on file. Let's view a sample biography on the President and CEO of the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, Ms. Julia Fleshman. Not only is there information about Ms. Fleshman, but there is also messaging on the organization itself. This is an effective way to establish both the organization and its CEO to your target audiences. Speaking of target audiences, I'd like to conclude by ensuring that my target audience, you, the viewers, remember the main points I've spoken about in this webinar. Hopefully, throughout the course of this webinar, you've learned about the importance of having a media kit for your nonprofit and 3 key documents to include in both hard and soft copy versions. While numerous documents can be included, fact sheets, a frequently asked questions page, and biographies are the most cost-effective and useful in conveying your organization and its messages to target audiences. At the conclusion of this webinar, I'd like for you to determine if your nonprofit organization has a complete and up-to-date media kit. If no, use the lessons learned throughout this webinar to create a fact sheet, FAQ page, and a few biographies. You'll want to make them both hard and soft copy versions and ensure they are readily available. Most importantly, spread the word to your colleagues about the importance of a media kit. Please feel free to reference this webinar at any time and be sure to share it with your colleagues. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.